Welcome to another edition of Jacqueline of All Trades, and today we are going to make spinach bites, and these are relatively low carb. The whole recipe has 14 grams of carbohydrates from cornstarch, and the rest is going to be vegetables, egg, and oil. So just to get started, you want to buy one frozen spinach package, and you want to defrost it, and then once it's frosted you want to squeeze out all of the water. And then what you're going to do, and this is the easiest way because I don't have really good knives, so what I do is I am holding a part of it with my fork and I just cut it with my knife, and I just go this way and then I turn it around and I go that way. And that has been the easiest way for me to chop the spinach up. So once we have that ready, we're going to put it, I put it in the bowl, and then I realized, oh well, I gotta show you guys first. So I took it out. So that's why it has a little bit of spinach on it. But anyway, I'm just going to put the spinach in the bowl. And in order to dirty less items, I'm just going to use the fork. And so I'm going to use, these are 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I recently realized I have an allergy to wheat, and I'm very happy because my lab work has come back, and for the first time in years my white blood cells, which are the ones that increase when you have infection or when there's inflammation, are actually in the really normal level. For a while there they were very high, and we didn't understand what was going on. So once I took out wheat out of my diet, it took about 3 to 4 months, and then finally the labs came back normal, and actually everything normalized. So I can make a video about that if you're interested. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put 2 eggs. And these are 2 medium eggs. But, you know, whatever kind of eggs you have at home, those are the ones I recommend that you use. Okay. And I'm going to quickly wash my hands. I'll be right back. Now, it's very important that you wash your hands after touching the outside of eggs, because that is where the salmonella comes from. It's from the outside of the eggs. And so it's important that not only you wash your hands after handling the outside of the eggs, but you make sure that there are no little bits of eggshell in your food. So here we have the cornstarch, the spinach, and the 2 eggs, and I'm just quickly going to mix them. And my mom used to make this recipe for me. It was one of my favorite things. When I was a kid, I did not like eating meat because it just took too much to chew, and I would get tired. And I know not all kids have that issue, but I was one of the hard kids, and I didn't like that. So my mom would make lots of vegetable recipes for me, and this was one of my favorites when I was a kid. The next thing is I'm going to use some ground white pepper, and this is also something that I grew up with. Here in the US we use black pepper, but where I grew up in Argentina we use white pepper, and I just like the taste. And then the other thing is I'm just going to put a little bit of the Himalayan pink salt, not very much. And it comes in really big granules, and I use a mortar and a pestle to grind it up. And I don't know really how much of the claims are true in terms of having more nutrients and everything, but I figured, you know what, why not? If I use a little bit of salt, I might as well get the better kind. So I'm just going to show you how it looks. It doesn't look as white as it used to when my mom would put like a ton of flour, but it just gives it a little bit of a consistency. And the next thing is we're going to get a little pan, and I'm just going to use some grapeseed oil to fry them up. And one other recommendation that I have for you is make sure that you don't only stick to one kind of oil. You actually have different oils that you rotate. So let's say you have grapeseed, and then you have canola, and then you have oil, olive oil, and then you have soy, and then you have just every kind of oil under the sun that you can get your hands on, just alternated. And the reason is because each oil has a different fatty acid content and different essential nutrients. So by doing that, you make sure that you're getting everything. So I'm just going to heat up the oil for a little bit, and once it's ready, we'll be right back and fry our little spinach bites. Thank you so much. We'll see you in just a little bit. Okay, and we are back. Our oil is warm. One quick way that you can find out whether the oil is ready, you can just put in the fork, and if you see it bubbling, you know that is hot enough. So I'm just going to be dropping just a little bit of a spinach bite. And just so you know, the longer you wait, some of the mixture here is going to be thicker, so every so often you want to stir it to make sure that the cornstarch gets dispersed throughout. And let me show you my new acquisition. It's a little oil screen. I bought this for $1 at the dollar store. Whoops, a little wet. Let's make sure that that doesn't happen. I just washed it. Okay. So because you don't want to throw water into the oil, because then it will splatter and it will be a mess. So you definitely don't want to do that. And you'll see the steam coming up. And so I had it on high, and now I went to, let's see, I just lowered it 1/4 turn. And we're gonna wait until we see getting golden on the edges, and then we're gonna flip them. So it will just take a few minutes. Now, once you have fried them all up, you want to put them on a plate with some paper napkins, and that will absorb additional oil. It's not that the oil is bad, it's just that usually we like fried foods that are crunchy. So that's just a way of making them a little bit crunchier. You can make them ahead, and of course you can reheat them in the oven for like 10-15 minutes, and they will come out really crunchy and not oily at all. So that's one way of doing this. Now you can have them for a party, you can have them as a dinner side dish. You know, it's really going to be up to you. So I'm just going to wait a little bit, and let's see, let's get a little spatula to flip them. Sorry, I have my little drawer right there. And let's see. Also, another way to know when they're done is if you can actually flip them without them falling apart. You know that that means they are ready to be flipped. So, okay, you can do it like that. This used to be my favorite when I was a kid. I would actually eat these a lot. And then my mom would also make me, it was sweet peas with eggs in like a little scramble, and that was also delicious in my book. So I'm just going to let them cook a little bit longer. And now I have another recipe which I'm going to film right after this video. It's going to be how to make really crunchy tofu, which is also one of another favorite. I guess when I was a kid, I had issues with texture, you know, things that were really, really hard and you had to chew and then chew some more. I just didn't like that. And maybe now that I'm an older person, I don't like that either. So that's why I tend to go for this type of things. So let's see how it's going. You see they look kind of crunchy. And in terms of the carbohydrate content, the whole recipe has 14 grams of carbohydrates from the flour. And I found that as long as I have a meal that has less than 10 grams of carbohydrates, I still remain in ketosis. So I know it's going to vary on a person per person basis. Also, it's going to make a difference in terms of how much fat you have additional to the carbohydrates. Like if you have the carbohydrates by themselves, you may get off ketosis if you go at 10 grams. But if you eat them with some fat and some protein, then it still works for me. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's something that you're going to have to experiment with and see what works for you. And the truth of the matter is, do I really need to have those 14 grams of, or 10 grams of carbohydrates per the meal? No, but I tell you, it does make it more enjoyable. So, you know, it's just a matter of checking, you know, getting those ketone strips and making sure you're still in ketosis. And it takes a little bit of trial and error. And now, the other thing that I found is when I do go over 10 grams, let's say I do 15, what I make sure is I go for a walk right away, or I start lifting weights. Very important, because what happens is that uses up any kind of glycogen, which is a form of stored sugar in your muscles, and that just keeps your whole body from secreting a whole bunch of insulin. So it's very important, if you were to cheat and let's say have more carbohydrates than you are, you know, you decided that you would have, then to, you know, fix it by lifting some weights for like 10-15 minutes, or just go for a walk, you know, maybe like 20 minutes. And you will know the difference, because when you're eating a ton of carbohydrates, at least this is what happened to me, I would feel incredibly hot and just not right at all. So it's just something to keep an eye on and decide, you know, if you really are at a party and you want to have a cookie or something, just kind of have an idea of how much that is, and then make sure you either exercise, and also make sure that you have some fat and protein with that meal, and it would really help you, so it doesn't keep you out of ketosis, and then the next day is much easier to get back on the ketosis bandwagon. So these are almost done. I think I'm going to increase the heat a little bit. Just go like this, just to get that really golden brown outside. And you can tell that they're also getting done, because when you poke them, they bounce back. See, if they were raw, they wouldn't do that. So let's see, in the meantime, while we wait for this, let me tell you about my nails. This is day 4 of my nails, and for the first time in my life, they have not chipped. And I'm gonna do a video about what it is that I did this time that made all the difference. Usually when I paint my nails in the morning, by the afternoon, they're all chipped. And so here we are 4 days after, which is really incredible for me. So anyway, back to the little spinach bites over here. You can do this with collard greens. Ooh, look at how brown that is. You can, here we go, we can put them a little bit, flip them one more time. And I think that we are set. I'm just gonna put them a few minutes. And I'm just going to put them on the plate. And I'm just just gonna lower the heat a little bit because I think it was getting too much. You see the smoke coming out? You know that's the oil is too hot. So we're gonna stir it again to make sure that we don't have any lumps of cornstarch anywhere. Okay, that's a little hot. But once we put in the bites, the temperature will come down of the oil. And so it makes, let me just tell you how many of these. I'd say it makes probably one more. So I'll tell you how many it made. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the last ones are a little bit bigger. So, but I think that you can get definitely 14. So it would be 1 gram of carbohydrate per bite. So it gives you an idea how much you can have. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and just gives you some ideas, some other things that you can have. And we will see you the next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.